going on? Jeff Hardy, the Charismatic Enigma here, and you are watching the Common Sense Ain't Common podcast.
Bitch, I'm that damn good. Smoking on some good, some rosy on the wood. Standing on the shit so you can get it understood. It's pedigree and me because I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good. Smoking on some good, something rosy on the wood. And bitch, I got the belt so you just get it understood. It's pedigree and me because I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that.
Yo, it is your boy, the illustrious Dame Don, and we are here for episode 22, our first wrestling episode of the year. I did want to do an in-studio episode, but I'm just like not really feeling it. Like, I just don't really have the energy to be in studio. Like, I am in studio, but I'm not in studio. I will go ahead and show you guys a picture of my new set. Just because, my new set is tremendous. If you haven't seen it on my season 2 premiere intro episode, I definitely suggest you all go look at it. But here is my new set for the people that just watched the wrestling episodes. But I don't really have a before we get started. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in just because there's been so much that I've missed. And it's kind of going to be all over the place. I typically go in order of the week. But I haven't done a wrestling episode in a couple of weeks, so it's kind of going to be all over the place. But of course, it'll all intertwine together like it always does. First, I want to say Roman Reigns is officially the longest reigning Universal Champion in history, which pretty much brings me to my point in saying straight away, Roman needs to lose the title to Seth Rollins at the Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns have tremendous history. Seth Rollins has always beaten Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship every time the title was on the line against those two. Seth did take the title, and Seth did touch on that on SmackDown. It looks like Rollins is going into this as the face with this Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins series, saga, rivalry, whatever you want to call it. It looks like Rollins is going to be the face in this. And really quick, I just want to say WWE is pushing really hard for this Seth freaking Rollins. Like, it is everywhere. They are really like pushing it. And I feel like if one thing WWE is always going to do is they're always going to fucking overdo something. They're always going to overdo something, and I feel like this is exactly what they're doing. They are completely overdoing this Seth freaking Rollins thing. Like, even if you pay attention on commentary, they don't even say his name anymore without saying Seth freaking Rollins, Seth freaking Rollins, Seth freaking Rollins. Like, it is so annoying, and I knew it was irritating. Like, the second it appeared on the Tron, I knew that it was going to be like this thing. But I really feel like Roman doesn't really need the title anymore. He's the longest reigning champion. And honestly, I feel like you can give the title to Bobby and Brock. You can give the title to Bobby and Seth at the Royal Rumble, because I don't feel like Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania needs to be for a title. They can definitely main event without a title at this point. Speaking of Brock Lesnar, let's just go ahead and jump right into Brock Lesnar becoming the WWE Champion, beating Big E. Brock Lesnar has pretty much ended both the New Day's record, Big E and Kofi Kingston. He ended both of their WWE Championship streaks, and when he beat Big E, that was the first thing I thought about. Like, damn, he beat Big E and Kofi. Like, that's really some shit. But I also feel like Brock Lesnar winning makes sense. Like, you can't just you can't put the Beast in that situation and not have him win, honestly. I feel like they could have had him maybe pin someone else. And obviously they could have had him pin Kevin Owens, because he's really the only one that's like not really doing anything. He did just beat Damian Pierce on Monday Night Raw, so they may be putting him in the direction of the United States Championship. But I feel like when it came down to it, like in that match, Owens was really the only one that seemingly didn't have anything big planned. There's reports going around that Rollins was supposed to win the WWE title at the match at day one. So, of course, they're not going to pin him. Of course, they're not going to pin Brock. And then it looks like they were protecting Bobby so that he faces Brock. So, I mean, like, the only logical option would be for them to have Brock pin Kevin Owens because he's just not doing anything until he just beat Damian Pierce this past Monday on Raw. I feel like Bobby versus Brock Lesnar is going to be a dream match for the ages. I cannot wait to see this. And of course, I will be there live in St. Louis at the Royal Rumble. Before I go out to the Royal Rumble, I will be dropping a prediction episode. I'll probably do that sometime next week. Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and do that sometime next week and just kind of let you guys know who I hope is in the Rumble, who I hope wins the Rumble, just things of that nature. Another thing I want to talk about here is the whole Big Swole thing with basically Big Swole saying she felt like black people weren't being represented properly on AEW television and things of that nature. I don't know about everybody else, but when I first read this statement, the first person I thought about was Brandy. I didn't think about Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, or fucking Jade, or I feel like that statement was directed solely at Brandy Rose because Brandy Rose is so fucking cringe. She's so cringe. And I feel like the thing for me that gave it away that Big Swole was actually talking about Brandy is because she talked about how they're not represented, and when they are represented, it comes off as unauthentic. And when I think of unauthentic black people on AEW TV, the first person that comes to my mind is Brandy Rose. Brandy is so cringe. I don't know what it is about her. She is so cringe. I just feel like she feels like she's very entitled just because she's kind of married to Cody. She's really not that great of a wrestler, and nobody's gonna tell her she's not that good of a wrestler. She's just really cringe. I tried to watch the Roads to the Top show. I couldn't get through it. Like, I can't deal with her. And apparently Cody Rhodes is now a free agent who's also the champion after he just beat Sammy Guevara for the TNT championship. And then he was gone for 3 weeks. So now they have an interim champion. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So I definitely feel like Brandy's cringe, Cody's cringe. They're really fucking cringe to me. But I definitely feel like that's who's Big Swole's comments were about. I definitely feel like TK's Tony Khan's response to her comments were completely out of line. I felt like if he wanted to text that to her, that'd be one thing. But of course, you probably have Cedric Alexander down your fucking neck if you texting his wife, talking to his wife crazy. But the way that he responded, I just feel like it made her feel like she made the right choice by leaving the company. The fact that you're going to sit on Twitter and say, oh, I didn't renew her contract because she's not good enough, that is complete bullshit. That is bullshit. Big Swole was a star, and at one point, Big Swole was, dare I say, the biggest star in the women's division before you started shoving DMD down our throats, no pun intended, because she is a dentist, but you guys have been shoving DMD down our throats, and I was really a big fan of Dr. Britt Baker at first, but now she's just kind of, And now people are saying she's better than Charlotte Flair, and she's better than Becky Lynch, and I'm just like, Like, what the hell are you guys talking about? I don't know if you guys have been watching Impact Wrestling, but Impact has absolutely been killing it on Thursdays. Zack Ryder is killing it under his real name, Matt Cadonia, I believe. His wife now, Chelsea Green, is over there killing it. Of course, the Iconics that now go by the Inspiration, Jessie McKay, Cassie Lee are over there killing it. They're having like this weird, it's not a trio because it's 4 of them, but they're having like this weird 4-way tag team thing where I kind of think they're going to have Madison Rayne and Emma and, well, her name Tennille Dashwood and Cassie Lee. I think they're gonna form like this super group, or I kind of feel like Tennille is gonna turn on Madison at some point and, you know, join the Iconics and make like this super Australian group. I also feel like Madison, like every time I do watch TNA, she's like doing a different role. Like I thought she was retired, and then she wasn't retired, and then she was on commentary, and then she left commentary and was wrestling again. Like, what the hell is going on with her? I feel like Mickie James is operating on a different level right now. The Impact Women's Champion. Her and Deonna Purrazzo just main evented the last Impact pay-per-view, Hard to Kill. That was the first time in history that the Impact World Championship had main evented an Impact show. I really feel like that was really a big deal for Mickie James. Mickie James is now headed to the Royal Rumble in St. Louis as the Impact Knockout World Women's Champion. And I feel like this is a really big deal for WWE to actually allow somebody to come in and use their own theme song from the other company and come out wearing their title and their gear that they would wear in the other company. That's huge that WWE is finally opening this forbidden door. Like, I'm really happy that WWE is finally opening up this door, and I'm actually really happy that Mickie James is the one to walk through the door, or kick the door open rather, because when she left WWE, that was her main thing of, oh, I want to bring women's wrestling together. I really want to, there's so much talent out there. Let's have an all-women's show. Let's have an all-women's pay-per-view. So it's really nice that they're using Mickie James as the person to kind of bridge that gap in the Forbidden Door. Speaking of the Forbidden Door, it looks like somebody is trying to get out of the Forbidden Door, if you will, and that is Ali. Ali has requested his release from the WWE, Mustafa Ali, and I do believe that they are not going to give him his release simply because he did it on Twitter. I feel like in the past, this has happened and people have requested their releases on Twitter and they don't get them simply because they did it on Twitter. And Ali did it in this edited video, and I just don't really know if that was like the right way to go about it. But then again, I'm not a wrestler, and I don't know if he had already talked to the locker room or talked to the office or what. But I feel like if he had just posted that on Twitter and not spoken to anybody prior, I don't really feel like that's a good look for him. I don't think that's really gonna affect him, but I don't feel like that's really like a good look to like post on social media like, hey, hi, by the way, I'm requesting my release. Like, I don't think that's really a good way to do that. I hope they either find something for him to do or release him so that he can go and do what he wants to do. But I definitely feel like Mustafa is a really underrated talent. Mustafa is a really buried talent, and we're going to get into buried in just 1 second, but I feel like he's a really buried talent. He hasn't been on TV. The last time he was on TV, he was losing. So we wish Ali the best. Hopefully he stays with WWE if they can make him happy, but if not, I hope he's happy elsewhere. I just want to touch on Buried for a second, because there's a lot of people that are saying Finn Balor now is buried, and Vince McMahon has given up on Finn Balor because he lost a match to Austin Theory. I feel like wrestling fans 1 minute say, WWE doesn't build new stars. They don't build new stars. And then when they try to build new stars, it's, you're burying our old stars. You're burying Finn Balor. You're burying Kurt Angle. Like, to build new stars, you're gonna have to have your new stars go over on your older stars. Like, you're gonna have to have that happen. Also, losing one match is not being buried. People that are not on TV are buried. Mustafa Ali is buried. Aaliyah is buried. Like, I know people like to say, Ricochet is buried. They don't use Ricochet. Ricochet is on TV every single week. Ricochet is not buried. Sure, he could be winning matches. Sure, he could be positioned better, but he's not buried. Nobody on TV every week is buried. Nobody. I hate when people say that. You're not buried on TV every week. You're not. It looks like Dominic is going to be eliminating his dad in the Royal Rumble. I should probably save this for the Royal Rumble predictions, but Ray threw Dominic over the top rope on Monday Night Raw this past Monday. And I pretty much called this last week. Like, I pretty much see like this probably being the startup to something, but I definitely see Dominic eliminating Rey Mysterio at the Royal Rumble. And of course, I will be at the Royal Rumble live, so make sure you all are subscribed so that we can go ahead and so that you can rather go ahead and check out vlog number 3 live from St. Louis. And I'll probably be doing my prediction episode from the hotel just because there honestly seems like there's not going to be anything to fucking do. Like, I honestly think I'm going to be so bored besides going to the actual Royal Rumble. I feel like this is going to be a very, very boring trip. Next, Kevin Owens has re-signed with the WWE. And not only did he re-sign with the WWE, he has kept his record of receiving a championship match every single year since coming to the main roster, and he actually did it on the first day of the year at day 1. If you go back and look, Kevin Owens has had a championship match every single year since he's been called up to the main roster, and he keeps that record now. At day 1. So we'll see what happens in 2023, but he has just re-signed a long-term deal. So I'm pretty sure they're probably going to give him that United States Championship just to kind of keep him happy, because I'm pretty sure they're trying to keep him as happy as possible and keep all their promises, because he did just re-sign for quite a bit of money. Let's just jump on over to AEW right quick, and then we'll jump back over to WWE. Jade Cargill has become the TBS champion. Jade Cargill is officially that bitch, running that bitch show on TBS, holding that bitch championship, the TBS championship. I'm so proud of Jade. Jade has come such a long way. Not only does she interact with me on Twitter quite a bit, but she just seems like a really nice person, a really down-to-earth person. From what she posts, like, I don't really know her personally, but from what she posts, she just seems like a really nice person. And I'm just really proud for her, and I'm really proud for her growth, and I just can't wait to see where she'll be in the coming months, coming years, things of that nature. Mercedes Martinez is all elite, and it looks like she'll be with Smart Mark Sterling and Jade Cargill in some form or fashion. It looks like her first feud is going to be against Thunder Rosa, so we'll see where that goes. I feel like Bryan Danielson right now is operating on a completely different level. Like, Bryan Danielson is having some of the best matches I think I've ever seen him have ever. I'm really happy that I'm able to experience him as the American Dragon. I haven't really ever experienced him as the American Dragon, like when he was in ROH or things like that. I definitely need to go back and do my homework, especially seeing as how he is my favorite wrestler. I definitely need to go back and do my homework, but Bryan is definitely having some of the best matches ever right now. He just faced Hangman Adam Page for the AEW Championship, and that was just a tremendous match. And before that, they had another match that ended in a 60-minute draw. So I just feel like he is just really operating on a completely different level. Speaking of AEW, Jon Moxley actually returned tonight after being gone, being in rehab, and he actually looks great. Jon Moxley looks tremendous. You can really tell that he's sober. He actually came out looking like Dean Ambrose, which is pretty much the same person, but he looked like Dean Ambrose. He looks healthy, and I'm really happy for him. Good for him. He looks great. It does look like there is a new era in AEW with Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. It looks like they're slowly trying to build Kenny Omega versus Kenny Omega and the Bucks versus Adam Cole and whatever this new faction is going to be called. We'll definitely see about that. It definitely looks like Andrade has taken over this group that Matt Hardy was in charge of, Big Money Matt. Andrade has now become a part of this group, and it looks like this may be an easy way for them to fade Matt Hardy out and get ready for Jeff Hardy to come in, because the Jeff Hardy Boys reunion tour is on its way. It looks like they'll be teaming pretty soon for the first time in 3 years. And I told you all in my Jeff Hardy meet and greet episode that Jeff said that he'll be returning with Matt Hardy. I'm not a liar. I will put the link to the description below. Definitely go ahead and check out that video for me, please. Back over to WWE, it does look like WWE has renamed Walter to Gunther. It looks like they were trying to rename him to Gunther Stark, but Gunther Stark was actually some type of Nazi name or something of that nature. Like, this is so crazy. Of course, the internet is outraged that they are renaming Walter. Walter really didn't need to be renamed, but I honestly, personally feel like neither name is a good name. Walter or Gunter wasn't a good name. He does look more like a Walter, but neither name is a good name, honestly. I'm not really liking the changes that they're making with NXT 2.0. I almost kind of feel like they just need a completely different name at this point. I definitely feel like the best thing going in NXT 2.0 are Mello, I can't think of his full name, but Mello Don't Miss, the North American champion, him, and Mandy Rose. Toxic Attraction, like, that's it. Like, that's pretty much the best thing going in NXT right now. I feel like the rest of this stuff is just kind of them throwing shit together. Like, I don't really like it at all. But it looks like they're kind of going back into the direction of God's greatest creation with Mandy, and that's exactly what she wanted to get away from. But she is absolutely killing it. She's a great champion. She looks great with the title. So I don't really have any complaints there, but like, she went to NXT to get that edgier side, to get away from being the photo shoot blonde and all that, but it looks like now they're just pretty much having her do the same thing, but with brown hair instead of blonde hair. Like, and I don't think that's what she wanted to do. But she is the champion, and she's looking great with the championship, so just leave it as is, I suppose. Just leave it as is. Currently predict Sonya Deville being in the Royal Rumble. Of course, this is another thing that I should leave in for the prediction episode, but I'll just say that now. I'm also hoping for Lacey Evans to be in the Royal Rumble. I'm also hoping for Trish Stratus to be in the Royal Rumble. I feel like if Trish comes out, I'm going to actually die. Like, I literally might die if Trish Stratus comes out. There's been kind of an outrage about WWE calling pay-per-views premium live events. And I'm not sure if they're just, like, outraged because of the name premium live events. Like, I don't really like the name premium live events. But, like, it wasn't long ago that I was really thinking, like, why are we calling these pay-per-view if they're on Peacock? Like, we're not paying to view them. Like, with pay-per-view, that's when they used to be, like, $60 pay-per-views that you would have to go and find, and it was legitimately pay-per-view. Like, you had to pay to view it. But I feel like with this, we're not paying to view it. Like, we're paying a subscription on Peacock, and it's not the same thing. So I don't really understand the uproar behind the pay-per-view premium live events, besides the fact that maybe people just simply don't like the name. But other than that, I don't get what the problem is. They announced today that Becky Lynch will be on Austin's podcast, the Broken Skull Sessions, I believe it's called. I'm really excited to see this podcast. Most of Austin's podcasts have been really good. So if you haven't seen those podcasts on the WWE Network, I definitely suggest you all go ahead and check those out. That is all I have for this week. My Royal Rumble prediction episode will be live in studio. I do apologize I wasn't in studio this week. I honestly just kind of have a lot going on, but I'll be all right. I'll get through it. But I definitely just wanted to drop this content for y'all. Make sure y'all check me out on my Instagram at Don Life with 2 N's and 2 E's. And of course my and of course my Twitter is at Dame Don. I appreciate you all for listening to me. And of course I will see you all on, I don't know. I'll see you soon. Deuces.